My name is Connor McGinn. I'm a potter and the owner of Connor McGinn Studios. Before all of this, I was working in kitchens, and I was working my way up as a line cook in this phenomenal restaurant and really learning to love the hospitality industry and everything that went along with it. But at the same time was trying to find a way to not work the grueling hours that come along inevitably with working in a kitchen. So I had this kind of background passion for ceramics from high school and from college that was just a hobby on the side. The owners of the restaurant that I worked for were looking at these handmade plates, and they called me up to the office and they were like, "Hey dude, come check this out. We know that you've done ceramics in the past. We think you'd get a kick out of this." I saw the pieces that they were looking at. It kind of all clicked in my head, and I had this realization that, hey, maybe that's something I could do. So they were opening up this new restaurant, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna make you plates, but also I quit. You know, here's my 2 weeks notice. We'll drag it out to 2 months," and took that opportunity to follow this passion that I had for pottery, to make plates for this restaurant. So when I started making plates, I always wanted to make every single one by hand. They had to be done individually. I didn't want molds and machines in the works. And when I first started making them, I got really good at it. I got really good at making plates on the wheel. And I remember looking at a stack of plates when I was finished, and they were so perfect. And for a second, I got really proud. And then I looked at them again, and they were boring as shit. Every piece was exactly the same. It had no character. They had no life. I went through this whole process to redesign how you make a plate. And the whole idea was, how do you make them consistent but imperfect? So we developed this process of actually making the plates upside down. That way we could control the foot, we could control the curvature of them with the molds that we make. And we could leave the edge alone. We could let it be natural, so that it's natural to the eye and it's beautiful on its own. It needs to sit flat on a table. It needs to stack. It needs to hold sauce perfectly from plate to plate for the chef. My favorite thing about doing what I do and making these plates is working with chefs. The chef and I will usually sit down and sketch some things out, or if we're getting really gritty into the detail of it, we'll grab some clay and we'll actually start making something. The first step is we take our clay and we process it through what's called a pug mill. The clay that we have has a little bit of grit to it. It's actually fired porcelain that's been ground back down. You add a little bit of that grit back into the pottery. What we're going for with the clay is something that's a clean white canvas that can highlight our colors. That's also going to be really incredibly durable and be able to withstand dishwashers and the use that it gets in a restaurant, getting banged around a bit without chipping or breaking. So we have this really nice, flat, consistent piece of clay that we can then cut out stencils that go onto the molds. We make our own stencils, and it's part of the process to make these pieces slightly imperfect. So the piece will never come out looking exactly like the stencil, but it's a starting point. So we take all those flat rounds of clay and we bring them over to the wheel. If you notice, our attention is being put onto the foot rather than the inside. Normally when you make something on a pottery wheel, you're throwing it right side up. But it was really important for us to have that same exact curvature for each piece. When we're working for a restaurant, we're making anywhere from a couple dozen to 1,000 plates. So if you're trying to crank out 1,000 plates for a restaurant, me alone making these plates on the wheel, that's just not gonna happen. We're gonna have 2 clients a year and that's it. We needed to develop a process where it can be replicable by other individuals, but still hold on to that handmade character. We make these big plaster molds. Each one is made individually in-house by us. So after we form the pieces on those molds, we'll bring them over onto the table and they dry for 15 minutes to an hour, depending on temperature, airflow, the stars, whatever it is. Once they're what we call leather hard, we'll remove that piece from the mold and we'll clean the edges. We compress the clay, we get that really nice curvature on the edge, and that's a crucial step to the whole process, because if we don't compress those edges and we don't smooth those edges properly, you're gonna get chips. Our kiln fits 200 to 300 pieces, and we fire that 2 to 3 times a week. And then they actually get fired twice. So we fire them first in a bisque kiln to dry them out and to cure them. And then we'll glaze them and fire them again in the big gas kiln. Based on our conversations with the restaurant, we'll choose different glazes for the piece. We make all of our own glazes in-house, and they're all glazed by hand. It allows us to really control that exact finish on the edge, that little bit of artistic nuance on every individual piece. It requires a lot of dexterity, but we want it to be just right. So our firing process is another thing that's pretty hands-on. We have a gas kiln. We stack up all of our pieces onto the shelves and push that door in. And when we lock it and we turn it on, there's a certain bit of mystery and unknown that happens inside of that kiln. Listening to the sound of the flame, you're smelling the air. There's a certain smell that happens during the firing process where you know exactly what's happening inside of that kiln. The firing process that we use makes the pieces as durable as they possibly can be. It allows us to make pieces that are microwave, dishwasher safe, that are durable enough to withstand the rigor of a high-end kitchen. For me, when you pull that piece out of the kiln, it's almost not quite finished, because the finished piece of work is really once it's been through the hands of a chef and it has food on it. At the end of the day, we're making these pieces of functional art. So to be able to walk into a restaurant and see that piece on a table filled with food that's been made by this incredible Michelin star chef is really special to me. Over the years, we've had a huge demand from individuals who've seen these pieces at their favorite restaurants and now want them for their home. We've made an entire line available on our website so that individuals can go on there and purchase pieces to have right in their very own home. I really love the fact that we have this studio right here in Tarrytown, where most of the time we're heads down working, but every once in a while for these markets, we'll open up the doors and invite people in. And we turn this entire dirty, dusty old workshop into this big, beautiful market. And we can share stories and we can tell you about how things are made, and you can take something home for yourself.